Connect on social media. Connect on Facebook and Twitter. Connect with iPower One Nation. Stay connected with iPower One.
From the Hard Planet Media Studios in New York, this is iPower 2 This Moment.
Flu activity remains high and widespread throughout Connecticut. There are even more people with flu symptoms, more flu-related hospitalizations, and more deaths.
The numbers are alarming. A total of 1,154 patients have been hospitalized in Connecticut with confirmed cases of the flu this season as of January 27th. 52 deaths have been attributed to the flu in our state. Officials say 41 with influenza A, 11 with influenza B. Of the deaths, most were patients older than 65, but the state says 3 people between 25 and 49 have died from the flu.
And the State Department of Health says that there have been reports of rapid flu test shortages. Now, there's just so much demand right now. It says hospitals do have other ways, fortunately, to test patients hospitalized with severe flu symptoms.
The most recent attack happened right here. A woman walking home on Tuesday morning when a man punches her and threatens her with a knife. And now detectives think her attacker is linked to 13 robberies. And tonight they're hoping a new surveillance video will help lead to an arrest. Police say he walks up to unsuspecting victims, punching them and robbing them at knife point. They say he's victimized 13 people, and 13 times he's gotten away with it.
It does get me worried. I don't want that to happen to anyone. No.
But now investigators hope these images caught on surveillance cameras will help them ID the suspect. And time is a factor. Police say he struck 13 times in the last 4 weeks alone, robbing victims in neighborhoods across Queens and Brooklyn.
I think it's sad. Like, why would you do that?
The victims include both the young and the elderly, women and men. The one thing they all have in common, they were all walking alone. In one case, police say he forced an elderly woman into her home and stole more than $6,000 worth of her jewelry.
Ruthless. I mean, especially to mess with the elderly.
None of the victims were seriously hurt, but the string of violent crimes is spreading fear throughout this community.
I have 3 children. We've actually experienced robbery here, and we're behind a gated fence.
If I know I'm coming home extremely late, I'll take a cab.
And the suspect is believed to be a man in his early 20s. If you know who he is, the NYPD wants to hear from you. We're live in Bushwick. Michael George, News 4 New York.
Right now, the cause is under investigation, but the fire chief does not believe this fire was suspicious. When police first arrived here this morning, they say a woman was outside screaming that her child was still inside. That child did not survive. Take a look here. Right now, crews are actually taking down the home piece by piece. Firefighters are looking for a person who is still unaccounted for. The fire here at 109 Commerce Street broke out at about 3 this morning, quickly spreading through the 2-story home. The fire chief says about 10 people were inside at the time. One man jumped from a window. He was taken to the hospital for injuries. Several others were also rushed to the hospital for smoke inhalation. When firefighters arrived here, the young child and a grown-up were missing. The fire chief says firefighters gave it their all as they attempted to search the burning home, but says they were overcome by what's called a flashover.
When a flashover occurs, the entire room, from the floor to the ceiling, all the gases in the room, the combustibles in the room, simultaneously ignite. And it's basically, if you survive a flashover, you're lucky to be alive. But fortunately, the firefighters that were in there, they had all their gear on and got out of the structure relatively quick with minor injuries.
And those 2 firefighters were taken to the hospital to be treated for burns. They are expected to be okay. Right now, the fire chief not releasing any more information about that child who died. Right now, as you can see, they are very focused on finding a person who may still be inside. We're live in Perth, Amboy. Lori Bordenaro, News 4 New York.
All I can think is how surreal this has all been. I can't believe a grown man would do these horrible things to so many little girls and young women. And when I saw the names of the people on the list that was released, I wanted to cry. Those girls are my friends, and they're literally my sisters, and that I competed with at Twist Stars. And I had great friendships with all of them. And I trusted you. My parents trusted you. My two sisters, who also had unfortunate experiences with you, trusted you. And now I feel like I'll never be able to trust another man ever again, whether it be a romantic partner or another doctor I'm forced to see. My parents are heartbroken and so filled with regret. All three of their children were victims of you, and they wish so badly they could have taken us somewhere else to get care. And when more headlines are published every day and more front page newspapers and your faces everywhere, I see the look in their faces, and I know they want to be able to do something, but they can't. And the guilt they have will never go away. And all this is because of you. Nothing can ever be done to undo what you did to my sisters and me and my friends. I really feel that my entire family has gone through hell and back these last few months because of what Larry Nassar did to both of my sisters and I years ago. I have known Larry Nassar for most of my life. He once was someone I had always trusted. If you were to tell me when this case was first unfolding that I would be a part of the roughly 200 young women that were affected by Nassar's disgusting, monstrous, and abusive actions, I would have not believed you. At the time, I just could not wrap my head around everything that he had done because he was my doctor, and I had trusted him so much. However, even though it took me so long to finally come to terms with the reality of what happened to all of us survivors, here I am. I would like to take this time to thank all the strong and courageous young women who shared their stories before me. Without you, and without seeing that other people were going through what I had been going through, I would have never found the strength to speak today. You show me that I am not alone. You show me that there is power in a voice. And I will forever be grateful for that. To my parents, thank you for all your love and support through all of this. You have done everything that a parent could ever do. I love you.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon. Would you do that?
That is not
yes
how
or
our...
no?
No, sir, I can't.
Would you give me 1 minute?
You know that I can't do that. That's not how our legal system
Well,
works.
I want that son of a behind your back. I know. Give me 1 minute with that. Go ahead. You're going to run over One minute.
Relax, sir.
Relax.
Take it easy, buddy.
Just relax. Okay, now we're going to kind of let up, okay? You have to let up too, okay? All right. Sit up. Get on your side. Sit up. Where is he? 1, 2, 3, up. What if this happened to you guys?
Not behave like that. No one can behave like this. I want to make sure it's crystal clear.
You haven't lived through it, lady.
You cannot behave like this. This is letting him have this power over us, okay? She will come out and tell you this. I didn't want to see another parent get arrested or put handcuffs on or a victim. We cannot behave like this. I understand Mr. Margrave's frustration, but you cannot do this. This is not helping your children. This is not helping your community. This is not helping us. This is not helping the police department. Use your words. Use your experiences to get him into change. Do not use physical violence.
I don't know what to say. What the hell was she thinking? It's terrible.
As first reported by the New York Daily News, according to student and staff accounts, about 2 weeks ago, Patricia Cummings, who taught middle schoolers here at MS-118, instructed black students in her classroom to lie on the floor and stepped on their backs, asking them, how does it feel to be a slave? We reached out to the City Department of Education, a spokeswoman telling us, quote, the alleged behavior has no place in our schools or in society. She has been reassigned away from students, and we're providing the school with additional supports. The lesson prompting some to petition for change.
What we're saying is that it's important that school staff are trained so that they know what is appropriate and what is not appropriate.
That's not right. That's not. I mean, if there are better ways to teach.
Others chalking it up to bad judgment and hoping for a new approach in the future.
My child is not in her class. I don't know her, so I won't indicate that it's racist. I'll say it's insensitive, it's a lack of knowledge.
You know, I don't think that she should have done that, putting them on the floor or anything like that. You know, now as far as the parents concerned about teaching about slavery, it's history. It's something that happened. And
the Department of Education confirming to us the investigation is ongoing. In Tremont, Tori Singer, News 12, The Bronx.
Experts say this year's flu season has turned into an epidemic with treatments in high demand.
We have not been able to get it from a regular source, regular wholesaler, so we'd be getting it from another secondary wholesalers.
Pharmacies are reporting a nationwide shortage of Tamiflu, the medication used to treat the virus. Pilgrim Pharmacy in Pelham Bay says the drug's distributors have been reporting the medication is out of stock. They do, however, still stock the generic version. Pharmacists tell me these oseltamivir phosphate capsules, both generic, are just as effective as Tamiflu in preventing or treating the flu. They can be taken prophylactically because the flu shot can take up to 2 weeks to kick in.
The local chain pharmacies are from here, Rite Aid and CVS, and they've called us asking if we had supplies because they do not have any. So, of course, we say we have it and send the patients over.
The New York State Department of Health has found that there were nearly 12,000 confirmed cases of the flu reported towards the end of January. This data shows this has been the worst flu outbreak in years.
And a lot of people are very scared when they come to the store, and people are calling and doctors are calling and asking if we have it, and so they're very content that we tell them we have it.
As for the flu shot, it's usually most effective when administered earlier in the fall. And now with people scrambling to get the shot, it can also be harder to get your hands on.
My stock of flu shot is minimal. We're having a hard time getting new doses of it. Hopefully in the near future we'll be able to get some.
In Pelham Bay, Hannah Klieger, News 12, Nightside.
I'm Jill Wagner. Here are some top stories from Cheddar on News 12. Job growth picked up in January. The Labor Department says the economy added 200,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate stayed the same, 4.1%, the lowest level since 2000. CBS and Viacom might be getting back together. Both companies say their boards have formed committees to discuss a merger deal. Viacom hired legal advisors and bankers. Sumner Redstone split the companies up more than 10 years ago, but now his daughter is exploring the option of putting them back together again. And let's talk cheese. Olive Garden's gearing up for Super Bowl Sunday with lasagna nachos. The Italian restaurant calls the new dish loaded pasta chips. It's made with fried lasagna noodles, loaded with different Italian cheeses and meat sauce, and topped with cherry peppers and a drizzle of Alfredo sauce. It costs about $10 and sounds like a pretty good dish to bring to a Super Bowl party. And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Jill Wagner from Cheddar headquarters in New York.
Well, I thought it would be pretty hard to find a fellow Eagles fan in New England, but it turns out the manager of this bar, BJ Ryan's, is a super fan and is planning on playing all Philly-themed music on Sunday. But if you're a Pats fan, don't worry, there's something for you too. They'll be serving the classic New England clam chowder as well as Philly cheesesteaks. The bar hosts a party every year and usually sees a pretty big turnout. And of course, since we're on Patriots turf, the manager here is expecting to take a lot of flack for his choice team.
I'll probably take the brunt of the abuse from the opposing fans, but it'll be fun. It'll create an atmosphere of competition and, maybe build up some energy.
I think competition and energy is a little bit of an understatement, but I have to say, I'm in the minority myself, so we'll see how it goes on Sunday. In Norwalk, I'm Nina Kapoor, News 12 Connecticut.
Traffic and weather meteorologist Bruce Avery, and here is your latest forecast. And we have another cold day with us in the winter of 2017-2018. And we had a couple of mild days, but now the cold air is back with a vengeance. Looking at the sky cover and the humidity, the wind speeds and the temperatures starting off in the teens and lower 20s, and wind chills down in the single digits and the teens. We don't expect to see any wet weather in here until the afternoon on Super Sunday. And the good news is milder air will be moving in, so even though it's cold today, it's going to be much milder on Sunday, and most of the precipitation Sunday afternoon and through the evening, right when those Super Bowl parties are ongoing, will be in the form of rainfall. For today, it will be cold and sunny for the most part, but breezy. Winds out of the southwest, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, so it'll feel colder. There are the projected high temperatures around the 5 boroughs, and tonight the low temperatures don't drop all that much, but the winds die down. Winds out of the southwest tonight, 5 to 10 miles an hour, increasing clouds and cold, and those clouds are the beginning of milder air moving in here. North and east of the city, very cold. South and west, you can see it's a bit milder, and that's important. By the Great Lakes, you can see lots of lake effect snow as the winds, cold air mass go across the Great Lakes, but down through the Ohio Valley, it gets milder. So as that precipitation starts moving towards us, the futurecast will show that the snow stays to the north for the most part, and then areas of green and yellow start moving in, and that's in Sunday afternoon or right around game time, and then tapering off right around the time the game ends and clears out for Monday and Tuesday. Lots of sunshine and temperatures highs returning to the 30s. A storm for Wednesday, but it looks like rain.
iPower 2 is New York City. New York City. New York City. In the tri-state area. iPower Channel 2 is NYC. In the Big Apple. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. Keyword iPower One Nation. That's iPower One Nation. Subscribe now. Watch online. iPower 2 shows are on YouTube. Listen online or on the app. Recent videos on our YouTube channel are available. Watch now, anytime, 24/7. 24/7. Get connected. Right now, we are iPower 2. One Nation Experience.
Take us to work. Take us on the go. Take us wherever you go. iPower 1 FM. Go to www.tunein.com. Keyword iPower 1 FM. Download the TuneIn radio app for free via Android and listen 24/7.